Right, welcome back to another video. Before we get into today, we just want to say thank you really. From that first video, I think the feedback and the support we've had is, I think Nick would agree as well, has far exceeded our expectations. Whether you viewed the video, liked, subscribed, messaged us, or even came to see us in person, it has far exceeded the expectations we had. So thank you for that. It gives us a lot of confidence going forward. Today, slightly different video. This is going to be the first video where we are going to try and help you as golfers. Obviously, as a coach, that's quite a big part of my sort of day-to-day life. I'm trying to help golfers. Today is going to be the first video of that. So what we want to provide is not necessarily tips for you in terms of what you practice, because I think the golf game and the golf swing is so specific. It's so individual. There's no replacement for one-to-one coaching with a PGA pro, ideally. But what I think we can do is we can show you how to practice. So whatever you're working on with your technique, I think there's routines, instructions and methods that we can give to you to help you hopefully improve your game in that way. Today, we're going to be looking at putting. All right, so we're going to go through 4 stations that is going to help you look at different parts of your putting stroke and your putting game that's hopefully going to get you to improve. To begin with, we're going to look at setup, which is going to affect your start line mostly. So Nick, if I just get you in here a little bit, as you can see clearly, all we've got is 2 alignment sticks. I'm pretty sure everybody can do that. And if you zoom into this alignment stick just here, what you can see are marks made on the stick. So the stick is down there to help me with my stance width and also my ball position. So if you just come around in front of me here, Nick, you can see that a little bit more clearly. And if I put the ball down, your first step of getting the ball in the right spot, getting your feet in the right spot, is then taken care of, and practicing like this is going to mean that you can repeat it time after time. So the next bit of the setup is your distance from the ball, which is going to affect your eye line. So for me here, obviously we've been up here a little bit before, I've got that stick a distance away from the ball that my eye line is in the position I want it. Easiest way to check your eye line, get into your normal setup as you would, have another ball in your hand, drop it from your eye, and hopefully, if you slow that down on a little slow-mo, you would have seen that was coming down right on the line of the ball. So what you'll find from having those setup elements correct is going to mean that you're a lot more likely to hit your intended start line and hopefully hole more putts. So if you would have seen the first video, you would have caught me on the greens a lot saying every putt is a straight putt. So what that means effectively is no matter how much break there is or where you're aiming, if you can hit your start line, you're going to be much more likely to hold the putt. So although this is a dead straight putt, by lining ourselves up and making sure that our setup is in the right spot or where we want it, we can then hit our start line, hit that straight putt, and whether, for example, this was a big breaking right to lefter and my aim point was there, I'm still going to have much more chance then to hold the putt. So another little bonus tip, use a line on your ball. Like you can see here, I've got the lines drawn on, or I've got the alignment aids. And not only is that going to help you with your aim, it's also going to help you with your feedback for your stroke as well. For example, hopefully we're going to see this line rolling end over end due to my setup. And whether this ball goes in or not, I know, judging by the line, how I started the ball on my line. So obviously it's gone in, but again, if this is a big breaking putt, the putt may have missed because of pace or the read, but if the line on the ball was going end over end, I can be confident I've hit a good putt. Our next little station, as you can see, we're a little bit further away from the hole now, which is going to test our strike. The strike across the face is another massive factor in where you're starting the ball. So what we've got, as you can see now, we've got the tee setting up a little gate. With the ball in the middle of the gate, this is going to force us to start striking the ball out the middle of the face. If we did this from closer to the hole with a shorter swing, you'll probably find it pretty easy. But obviously the further away we get from the target, the further our stroke is going to be moving, the harder it's going to be to hit the ball out the center of the face. So let's get myself in here. We're already all aligned up. Hopefully it's a pretty straight putt as well. Still working on the same setup elements, but all we've added in is that gate to hopefully strike it out the center. So not only is the centeredness of strike going to affect the start line, laterally, left to right, it's also going to affect the speed at which the ball comes off the face, which is going to influence your distance control as well. So not only are we trying to start that ball on line and hit that straight putt, it's also going to give us a massive advantage when we're trying to work out how far we actually need that ball to go. Right, so leading on from that strike drill and our sort of a bit of an introduction to the distance control, this is now a full distance control drill. So our sort of setup station is exactly the same, but we've got a few other tees involved, as you can see now. We're now not aiming towards a hole, we're solely looking at how far the ball's going to go. So the aim of the game is to gradually increase how far this ball's going to go. I'm going to have a go and I'll sort of talk you through it as we go. The first putt we need to hit is to get past this first tee, which is 3 paces away. Let's see if we can do it. Nice. So we're past the first tee. Nick, if you come with me. I'm now going to place another tee down in line with that ball. And that is going to be our new target. We need to hit this ball just past that next tee. So now all we've got to do is get that ball going a little bit further than our last putt. Obviously we don't want to smash it, we want to get it just past the tee. And a little tip, all you've got to do, don't change your tempo at all, just increase how far that backswing is going to get that putter moving. Perfect, so literally just past it, and all I'd now do is move that tee in line with where the next ball is. You're going to do that as many times as you possibly can until you get up to that end tee. So let's have another go. Again, just past that next tee. Keep the setup exactly the same. We've got our station in, we've got our ball position, we've got our gate, we're still training our strike. So a little bit pacey on that one, but still we're past the tee. So that at this point would now be a score of 3. The distance between this first tee and the far tee is 8 paces. So obviously the more putts you can get within this distance here, the better your distance control is going to be. However, if you then leave one short, we need to go back to the beginning. So like we said, we've got 3 paces to the first tee. We've then got 8 paces to the next tee. So that gap that we're trying to hit the ball in every time is about 24 feet. So if you can get yourself, say, 8 putts in total, you're then going to be averaging about 3 foot past the hole. The more shots we can start to get in this distance here, the better your distance control is going to be. And like you saw with that putt there, if you ever leave anything short, you got to go back to the beginning. So it's that sort of old-fashioned never up, never in saying, which I quite like. Be positive, get the ball to the hole, and this game's definitely going to encourage that. So we've had a look at our start line, so hitting that straight putt. We've had a look at our distance control. The last little segment of your putting routine I'd like to see people do is make it a little bit more sort of course realistic. So I'd consider this as sort of the performance element of your putting practice. All you've got to do, putting green or spare green like we've got here, drop your ball, read it like a normal putt, and look where the break is. And then all you need is one tee, put your tee to where you think that break's going to be, and aim yourself up to that. So I'm going to have a little read of the putt now, get this tee down, and get ourselves lined up. Right, so as you can see, I've got a tee out, because that is where I think I need to aim to break, or for the break to then take this ball in the hole. And all I'm going to do is try and hit a straight putt to that tee. So I'm going to try and get into the same setup position, line myself up. I've lined the ball up, which is obviously a massive help. I'm going to try and keep my setup exactly the same, and all I'm going to try and do is hit towards that tee. That was first take, by the way, and hopefully the ball's going to go in the hole. Right, so we're going to have another go, just prove it wasn't a fluke. And I want to give you a nice little bonus tip. So you might have seen on that one, I'm over the ball, I've aligned myself up to the tee. The last place I looked wasn't the hole, it was the tee, or my point of aim. I think if you're focusing on that hole, even from here, having aimed myself to the tee on the left, if I look at the hole, I'm so much more likely to push it towards our sort of end target and miss low. So when you're over and you're all set up, ideally lying on the ball like we said, setup's the same. Make that last look at your tee or your point or wherever that ball is aiming, and then hopefully the break will take it in the hole. Not quite, still a decent putt though. Right, so that is all 4 elements covered, and I mean you could spend as little as 4 minutes on each part, and that'll then give you a 20-minute quick sort of putting session. You can do a couple of times a week and your putting will improve. Like we said, we're going to do this for some different parts of the game as well, but if there's anything in particular that you want to see, put it in the comments. And like we said last time, if you like the video, like, subscribe. We're growing slowly, and keep your eyes peeled as well. Our next video is a very, very special one, and we'll see you then.